It's alive!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of the Raiders Rambles. I am Avera Nova, the most orange of the candy doggos. Jolt is not with us today at this moment. However, we do have our most amazing technical producer, Noble.
Morning.
All right, good morning, sir. And next up on the show, we have No Dragons, Please.
Hey everybody, it's finally not snowing for once in Colorado. It's actually sunny. It's nice. It's like I can go for a stroll or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that just the other day. It was snowing like crazy. A random nor'easter in the middle of April. All right, and finally we have Stifor.
And still, even though you asked me how to pronounce it, you still said it wrong.
No, is it Stiffer?
Stifior. You just said
Stifi. Oh,
Stifor.
I said Stif. I said
Yeah.
Stifior.
Yeah, you missed out the whole part of the I there.
Oh, that's right. There is an I there. Oh, goddamn. Whatever. Hi. How
But
are
yep,
you?
I'm back again to replace Avira as a host. I mean, what?
Sorry, buddy. Anyway, I always call you Stife, so I just never
Yeah.
have the Eeyore part nailed down.
So,
Anyways,
Stife or something else?
yeah, Stife or Stiff, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I don't know, man. People call me Avera, Avira, whatever. My name's spelled dumb. So, before we get into our stories today, guys, No Dragons actually mentioned this to me earlier today. I didn't realize this, and I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't heard of it yet either. Today is the first annual International Content Creators Day.
Woo! We finally have a day. Internet finally wins.
Yeah. Now, at first, when you told me this, I thought when you said International Creators Day, I thought that meant something religious, like about God, like a God for everyone. But
That's what I'm here for.
yeah, okay, all right, Steve. Well, the thing is, this is actually pretty cool for those of us that promote regular or create rather regular content on platforms like YouTube or Twitch or even TikTok and places like that.
Oh my god, TikTok.
So I know, but hey, people do make a living off that. So
Yeah,
it's
they're content creators too, right?
yeah, technically, I guess. I mean, technically, we are too. We do this show every week, to entertain and whatnot. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
guys,
pretty cool.
No Dragons actually has his own gaming channel. You totally check that out. He streams rather regularly, and he does some short vids and all kinds of fun stuff. So check him out as well.
I was gonna say it's not just a gaming channel anymore now that I've been doing the shorts. So
That's why I mentioned that. Yeah.
Roasting villages yet, I'm guessing?
do what?
Roasting any villages, I'm guessing?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right, Noble, want to bring up our first topic?
Okie dokie. ABC Children's cartoon Bluey at the center of social media storm. Lack of diversity claims. Says the Western Australian. This is the West Australian, sorry. Oh, boy.
Mind you, this is a cartoon, and they're complaining about lack of diversity.
Is this another old cartoon that like on because it wasn't made in the past year? It's got to be racist. It's
Well,
got to
I'm
be
not-
non-inclusive.
It's still current.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not sure
is
how
it?
old it is. I think it's. Aren't they still making new episodes of this?
Apparently.
All right, so let's read on here.
Australia's most popular children's show, Bluey, is at the center of a social media storm after ABC columnists questioned whether the cartoon about a family of blue heelers could be more diverse. In an opinion piece on the ABC Everyday website, I'm not going to try to pronounce that woman's name. Detailed her love for the ABC
Beverly Wang.
which ranked in an incredible 7.2 million views across its latest series. But posed the question, can Bluey be more representative?
Well, sure you can. And you know how? They can say, Blue Lives Matter. I mean, right? That's inclusive to blue people. to the Blueys, right? And
Well, exactly.
maybe other
And
things. I don't know.
as a blue otter, I can say that is
All the Smurfs.
definitely allowed.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but seriously though, both these dogs, at least the adult couple, seem to be two different colors.
They are, yes. One is
Married.
blue and black. The other one is beige and brown. And their child has characteristics of beige and brown as well. It kind of looks like the dad a little bit, and then the other one looks like the
They've-
mom. So
They've got brother and sister, basically.
yeah, okay. So there's a lack of diversity. These are cartoon character dogs, and they're all different colors. Some of them aren't even human colors.
And do you really need like a proper expanded universe of diversity in a bloody kids show? It's for kids to look at, laugh at,
Yeah,
and
but
then go about something else. They
I'm
don't
not
need like, oh,
More
it's
about
not
this article
diverse
first.
enough.
And then I got a few things to say about this myself.
okay. Yeah, go on.
As a parent of color, I'm always concerned of presence or absence of diverse representation in kids' pop culture. What it means for children and the conversations we have around that, she wrote.
Okay, so if you're a very concerned parent of color, this individual says, and she's watching a cartoon about different colored dogs, some of which are literally blue and beige and all that crap. What's the problem? Well, let's read some quotes here.
I sincerely believe you don't have to be the other to think about this too. We live in a world where the majority of main characters on children's television are white, where there are more animals than people of color protagonists populating the pages of children's books.
Yes, people
Is-
are white.
Is
From
that
a blue dog.
anti-furry propaganda I'm hearing? She's offended that there are more animals than people of color?
She's saying
Gasp!
animals, not furries, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Were there the disabled, queer, poor, gender diverse dogs of color and single parent families in Bluey's Brisbane? If they're in the background, let them come forward.
I'm sorry, what?
What?
Dogs
Let
of
them know.
colour.
Dogs
Sorry,
of color.
what?
Oh, not only that, she also wants some of the characters, the dog characters, to be queer, poor, and disabled? What?
It's a
Why?
kid's show. Just let a
Why
kid look
why
at the
would you want
show.
a
and go
homeless
about this.
doggo to be your main character who probably lost a limb in Vietnam sometime and he turned out to be trans? He's a trans doggo Vietnam disabled queer whatever the crap. No one wants to see that garbage.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God. What are they trying to
That's
do for
too
kids these
much.
days?
I'm not going to use this person's name because I can't say it without butchering it horribly. Is an Indigenous comedian, actor, dancer, and musician who voices the character of an Irish wolfhound, Malaine.
Maynard.
Bluey
yeah,
was quietly trending on Twitter with users divided.
he's quickly trending on Twitter. Let's see,
Some
some
defended the
Yep,
oh, sorry. Did you want to...
It's so good. Some defended the perspective as a thoughtful, respectful, and entirely reasonable take, while others attacked it as taxpayer-funded dross and tired identity politics. Yeah, I see the divide.
definitely.
I really do.
I mean,
However, I
I
don't
kind
see
of
the
have to
divide
agree with
when I
that.
first look at this show. I see the divide in people like this writing these nonsense articles asking for poor characters to be more represented. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Go on.
The show centers around Brisbane sisters Bluey and Dingo and their parents, Chili and Bandit, as a reflection of the life of Joe Brum, a family with 2 young daughters. Oh, okay. Didn't know that part. Brum has previously told how every single episode features something he went through, a game that we used to play or a place that we used to go. that it acts as a photo album of these memories, except they're all dogs. An Emmy-winning show is part of the most popular ABC kids show in history and has been widely applauded for its humorous, heartfelt, and realistic take on parenting an Australian childhood.
So it's like, even then, it's not something based around pure fantasy. It's literally the guy doing stuff based on his own life, his own family, and stuff like that. So it's stuff that he knows that he's just writing down from his own experiences. But no, because he experienced it, it's completely wrong. It is not inclusive enough to other people.
In response to these columns, Ava
Mulholland.
Director of Communications at the Institution of Public Affairs, argued most Australians would see it as a weird take to see Bluey through the prism of identical politics when it's just a wholesome cartoon. It's a real key and end point of identity politics where actual people at the ABC and Guardian and nowhere else are mad that a dog is not diverse enough. It's a dog. He wrote on Twitter.
Yes, it's a dog. Exactly. Get it right. All right. Well, we don't have to read all these quotes. There's only a few left, but I love this one. Would love to see more diverse representation. In quotes or parentheses, where the queer doggos on the show.
Well, come to Raid of Rambles, and we've got an orange one right here.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. But okay, but do you really need queer doggos? Like, these are kids we're talking about. You know, this is not a show designed to teach about sexuality or maturity and crap like that. This is just a wholesome, funny, silly show about a dog family. Oh, but we need the representation, though.
To unpack from this, after reading that, it's about a father who tells the story of raising his kids. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
If that's the whole premise of the show, then that's how it should stay. If you want more diverse sort of thing, why not turn around and put out a call for in the Indigenous communities for someone who has the writing capabilities to do the same sort of thing?
You know,
there's one problem with this, Noble.
Oh yeah.
Haven't you learned that writers don't have talent anymore?
Some don't. Some do, however. I've seen things where TV shows where they completely go down the shitter because the writers basically screw up, and you get other shows where you actually have good writers. The problem is the ones doing all the shit talking are the ones who are being pushed forward for diversity purposes and all this other weird bullshit, which basically takes the whole idea of a story and turns it into an infomercial.
Yeah.
And I hate infomercials.
Yeah, me too.
What I don't understand a lot of in modern culture is, when did TV become from the main point of entertainment to politics?
It's difficult to say.
There's
a lot of
6 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden messages in a lot of shows. Hell, actually, even like the Animaniacs, we spoke about this years ago, back in like the late 90s. They would make fun of presidents and do political satire, but that's a little bit different than this. So my suggestion for anyone in Australia who would like to make a show like that, they don't have to try to change and or ruin this show. They could just make a new one. Maybe talk about some ancient Maori legends of fantastical beasts and do a whole show about that. Make it different.
If you're an American, I'll say this. I believe it's referred to as the Dream Time here in Australia.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a cool show. Yeah, why not?
No, that's how it's referred to.
Oh. Okay.
They call it the Dream Time. At least that's if I recall.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So, honestly, if the ABC want to turn around and start doing a couple of shows like this, by all means. To be honest, watching the episode that I did reminded me of Rugrats, but with a whole lot less cringe. I'm sorry, but even as a kid, I remember Rugrats always felt off to me watching that. Watching this, it was good. I mean, it's not a show I want to sit down and watch every single day obsessively, but I honestly don't see anything wrong with this particular show. And anyone that wants to turn around and start going off their head about how it has to be more inclusive, you completely ignore the whole premise of the story.
Exactly. So this is just your typical family, Now, guys, I hate to say this, but most people on this planet are not like disabled, or they're not, poor or some marginalized group. This is just an average family, and it's just doing, life. Kind of like a Caillou, like what that used to do, or Hey Arnold. So it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah, just a wholesome type of family show. And apparently it's 7.2 million viewers in Australia. It's one of their most popular shows ever.
Well, see, that's why people hate it. It's because everyone likes it. So naturally,
Yeah.
someone has to hate it.
But if everyone likes it, if it's just a happy, normal, wholesome thing, it's a family of doggos. Oh, that's adorable. Hell, I'd watch it.
Yeah, but you don't understand, Avira. Something wholesome can't exist.
Oh, no. There's
Sadly,
got to always be something to complain about.
We've got a comment from Boombox. I missed is it Bondox?
the Boondocks. Oh, I
Boondocks.
know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Oh,
the
that one.
Boondocks. That's right.
I've heard of them.
That was a good show. I saw clips from it, and it was good, but not something I want to turn around and sit down and watch.
I
don't know.
actively watch it, but if it's on like TV and I don't turn my TV off, I'll just watch it like on Adult Swim. It's pretty funny.
I got a couple of laughs out of some of the segments I saw, but a lot of shows generally just don't sort of stand out at me.
Yeah, I do love the grandpa though, and his unending cynicism about the world. It's just the best thing ever.
Do you have an example?
Oh goodness, do I? No, not that I can think of. I haven't seen the show in years, but I always do remember that aspect about the grandpa. Just he was so grumpy about everything. Just amazing.
So you're calling me a grandpa?
Are you black and 75 years old?
No, but I'm grumpy about everything.
Well, maybe one day you'll become a cartoon character. Who knows?
Well, and we all already. That's just what furries are, aren't we?
No, technically, unless you're well, for instance, me, yes. At least the icon that I'm using.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess me too, because I look like a little chibi.
No. It has to come from a cartoon.
Oh.
Cartoon-like.
Furries can try their own. Or then get cancelled because it's not inclusive enough.
Well, have you guys ever seen Orange Doggo Takes on the World Season 1? That doesn't exist yet.
Crap.
It doesn't exist yet, but it will.
Cancel it. It was awful.
Anyways, I think we can go on to our next topic. What do you think?
Yeah, let's take this hole and dig it deeper.
Oh, yeah. Dig it very deep.
Whoops. Perfect. COVID restrictions and operations for Denver as of April 2021. Oh, boy.
Oh, so it's more stuff about the conventions.
No, so this is actually some pretty big news, guys. Denver is actually going to try to be one of the first cons to, like, one of the first major cons to open back up again. And they have some new rules for the attendance, obviously, which we predicted they would. So let's see what their official statement says.
Any staff and attendees will be required to be vaccinated and provide proof of vaccination. We are working with local, state, and federal requirements on what would be necessary to provide vaccination has been completed.
No. Necessary to prove that vaccination
has been completed.
And this is what's very, very creepy to me. Let's keep going through these bullet points here, guys. screening for staff and attendees daily with identification that they have been screened for contact tracing purposes required by Denver. So basically, this is show your papers. You have to have the vaccine to be at this convention.
So, but
All
it says
staff
daily.
and
So
all
is that going to be
employees.
like you wake up in the hotel, you
Yep.
leave your room, and then papers? Oh well, you showed them
That's-
yesterday, but you've got to go back in your room today now that you've not shown them.
Well, that's what they're saying. But it gets worse. It gets way worse. Any staff and attendees are required to wear a mask in any public space at all times. This includes any space inside the hotel and outside in public areas of the hotel's property. Masks must be worn correctly over the nose and mouth. Yeah, we all know that bullshit. They must be... Oh, really? Masks must be worn under costumes and fursuits. Yeah, bullshit. You think anyone's gonna fucking know? Get out of here
Yeah,
with that
exactly.
crap.
No one's going to know, and I can say, as a chef, wearing a mask in the heat is not good.
Dude,
At all.
Breathing in a fursuit already is hard enough, and then you want to put
Yeah.
a fucking mask. You're gonna kill people like that. Anyways, they have face shields are not acceptable, so I guess they don't like the plastic thing over your face.
I think it's because people use them without realizing that most of the shields actually say on it. You still need to wear a mask with it.
Yeah, and
But
dude,
no
this
one
is
does.
crazy. It goes on to say that mask checks will be performed in all function spaces, and all spaces will be restricted to 50% capacity. Social distancing of 6 feet will be provided if needed. Theater-style seating will also be spaced 6 feet apart. Tables, only 10 people. Dancing is allowed in groups, but only if you're 6 feet apart. Main stage, seats will be spaced 25 feet away. So look, I'm not going to get into the rest of these bullet points. You know what this really means,
25
right?
feet for the performers to
Cons
not
are
wear a
not
mask.
going to be fun anymore. They're not going to be the same. We already predicted this would happen quite a while ago, and how conventions are going to completely just go full Karen mode on
Yeah.
Corona-chan, and this is exactly what's happened. They want you to wear a mask under your fursuit. Are you fucking kidding me?
That would be something I would not do.
And you have to be vaccinated in
That
order to
comment.
go to a convention. Now, guys, I have a serious question. Do you think that this is going to start a trend or a what do they call it legally? I don't know. Or like a predisposition where
I get what you're trying to say, but yeah, I can't think of the word either.
yeah, like all future conventions that want to open, you have to have your vaccination papers.
Yeah, so it's sort of like getting all the other conventions to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, like, 6 feet apart, no more room parties, no more raves, no more fun. You have to wear a mask.
I don't know how it
forever.
is in America right now, but as I understand, it's still in a sort of coming out of lockdown. Australia, where I am, we've been out of lockdown for a long time now.
Yeah, but you have to think about it like this, though. That there's so many people that are like alt-lefty and Karens in this furry fandom that if you're not wearing a mask, they're going to try to ban you. They're like, "How dare you? You can't do that!" Like people have a lot
Well, no,
of
it's
anxiety.
usually the Karens that don't wear the masks.
No, it's
Look,
not.
because we,
Well, there's pro and anti-mask Karens out there. I've seen them
look,
both.
where I am, because we haven't had any major outbreaks, and anyone who's actually had the virus has always come into my state. Right now, I could go to the pub. I could go to any shops. You generally have to stand, away from someone, but it's not enforced anymore. There's no requirement to wear masks. Hand sanitizing is still sort of suggested, but not enforced. It's
So we're starting to get there in Englandish. They've started opening up. You can drink outdoors and stuff in pubs. The 17th of May, you can go indoors again. And then they're saying that the vaccination is actually working really well. So they reckon sometime throughout the summer, people will be able to stop wearing masks altogether.
Well, if they have a federal mandate, which is important. Thing is, guys, I'm not sure if you remembered, but Jolt and I talked about this on our podcast, I believe a year ago when conventions started to close down, and we were talking about how once conventions started to happen again, we would absolutely jump on the first one and go there because everyone would. However,
It doesn't seem like they will
seeing
now.
seeing like all these draconian restrictions they have, like you can't even go to a dance party without standing 6 feet away from each other. Like that's not even fun. This just sounds like some bureaucratic regulations that I don't want to even bother with. Like I'm not going to go to Denver. I was going to go to Denver. Like I was if they opened up and everything was okay again. But now, if I have to wear a mask under my fursuit and they have checks, like checkpoints and shit, I have to show my little vaccination card that I got the shot. No, fuck that shit. I'm not going to any cons right now.
Well, so here's my issue with all these restrictions is it doesn't seem like they're ever ending.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like they
good
basically say like, all right, like at the start of this whole thing, they're like, all right, you guys have to stay in your houses for a month and then we'll go back to normal. Well, I get that people didn't follow that, but then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to push it out. This will only last 3 months, while it lasted a year. And finally, like a vaccination comes out, right? Like that should be the end in sight, right? Enough people get vaccinated. All right, we can go back to normal. And now they're saying, oh, well, even if you get a vaccination, you still got to do all these restrictions. And I'm like,
exactly. How dumb is that?
From what I can, it should be fair to state that this isn't Denver Fur that's turning around and doing this. These are the requirements they have to follow in order to actually have the FurCon.
Right. So then, why would they even bother opening up to begin with? Because I'm sure I'm not going.
That's the thing I'm thinking there, is to play devil's advocate. I understand why they're saying, like, yeah, it is ridiculous to wear another mask under your fursuit mask. I see why, because, like, well, it's still a medical mask to stop stuff, and people constantly run up to fursuiters, they're all hugging over fursuiters and everything. But again, what's the point in forcing stuff that's going to hurt the suitor more when you can just say, we'll leave the con for this year, and then come back next year when it's blown over even more, so we won't have to be so restrictive against everything.
Well, that's the thing, Stife. Like, the thing is, a lot of these, like, larger conventions, they have contracts with these hotels. Like, they are renting out a particular amount of space for a particular date. And, like, there's a lot of money involved in this. And so if they cancel this convention, I mean, obviously, certain circumstances last year with the whole coronavirus, that was a big problem. But now, if things can get back to normal and they can do restrictions, but still have the convention, they wouldn't technically be breaking their contract. But right now, I'm not sure how well their attendance will be if they still have to abide by those constrictions based on not just the hotel they have a contract with, but like the actual state itself, the CDC, all that kind of stuff, the WHO.
Well, and the contracts shouldn't be able to hold up that strictly during this, because they're going to have other people in the hotel, not just the con residents. So if they're making the cons do this to all the people who are attending as furries, well, what about the other people that'll be invading the hotels that aren't furries, and they're just like, oh, well, I'm not part of them, so I don't have to follow their rules?
No, it does work different than that, because on a hotel throughout the year typically works on an average day. Like, they know how many people they're going to get, how many they won't. Like, they have estimates about that. But if there's a major event like an international furry convention with thousands of people showing up over a weekend, that is a big deal. And so that's why they have to, I guess, abide by the state's restrictions, unfortunately. And so does a convention, in order to exist and still fulfill what they promised to this company last year before things happened.
Yeah, but still, here's the issue: is when does it stop? Right?
No dragons. For me, my suggestion would be wait 3 years from day zero. So day zero for, well, effectively the virus would be
March 11th?
2020.
Well, that's when it was declared a pandemic. Let's just say March 11th, right?
Right. So March 11, 2020. 3 years from that date, or at least 3 years from 2020, I'm going to then turn around and start saying if we still have restrictions in place that we need to start looking at relaxing them.
Yeah, hell, we should start relaxing them now.
Years.
See, but here's the thing, though, is like, why don't they just realistically tell you that instead of being like, oh, well, if you do this, then we'll be back to normal. Well, now you got to
Because
do
they
this, then we'll be
can't.
back to normal. Like, why don't you just say, hey, look, it's going to be 3 years at least, and then people aren't going to be like angry, right? Because it's like, okay, you told us straight up it's going to be 3 years. Okay, well, it's only
No
been
dragons.
yeah.
I'm saying I'm going to wait 3 years before I start speaking up about that. Unless, of course, there's another major outbreak, at which point I'd keep my mouth shut.
Well, yeah, that makes
You
sense.
need to realize that this isn't something that you just simply wait a week and then it all goes back to normal. No. I'm sorry, but people aren't
sorry.
getting the idea of the pandemic. Anyway,
Don't you
let's
remember?
bring up-
Was it 14 days to flatten the curve? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
yeah, I'm living in a place where that was successful. Being
Yeah,
able to go to
I'm
a
not.
pub's nice. I'll say
I
that.
remember
mean-
I was told, oh, my job will be closing for a little bit in November. It's now April, and I'm still not at work yet.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry to hear that.
I mean,
I've been laid on my ass doing
I
that.
mean, the job I had, fortunately, I found another job, but the job I had, they literally told us, they're like, hey, yeah, like, we're going to be gone for a month, but, like, we should be back by summer. And I'm like, cool.
So, an excellent example I have of how I believe this could fall apart and shit could get worse would be this. To anyone
Yes.
that's worried about needing a vaccination identification card, don't be. The templates are online and there's no reason to stamp or embellish the set of them just apart from a normal piece of paper. Print one, fill it out, laminate it. It's good for effect and enjoy the con.
So basically, this person was telling you how to fake your vaccination report card. Like, if you didn't get a vaccine, you could print this out and be like, hey, I want to go to this con. Look, I got vaccinated, even if you didn't. And then Denver itself actually made a statement condemning this. And they're like, we know who this person is that is advocating for this. You must have a vaccination before you come to our convention, and we will check your papers.
It's not going to
That-
kill you.
that's what they're
You can't
doing.
go to a fur con.
No, it's not. I mean, well, not the virus anyway.
This type of stuff is. Ew.
I mean, that's it. I can't agree with that either, right? Like, it's completely our option to get the vaccine, and I get that businesses have, their business right and have to comply with, like, state mandates and all that.
Yeah, but it's not a state mandate to have to be vaccinated. And
Right.
conventions are, well, specifically Denver, they're saying, we're adhering to CDC regulations, and they're doing all that 6 feet bullshit and mask wearing. But when it comes to vaccines, that is not mandated by any state or any federal law at all right now. But they want you to prove that you were vaccinated just to go to this con.
Yeah, so
At
I
that
think
point,
that's a
I'm not
little
even going.
excessive. Where it kind of makes sense to force vaccines, right, is like if you're going to be in something that's somewhat close quarters. Like, I get it, like cruise ships, they want people vaccinated because, well, one, you get to have more fun then because you're all vaccinated. So what's it matter if you're all close?
Look, I
Yeah,
see it.
But
brings up
that's
the other
not
point
that's
about
not
convention.
how the conventions are operating. They say even
Yeah,
if
they're
you did
operating
get
with
the
all the
vaccine,
distances.
you still
and
have
you still
to.
need it, yeah.
Yep, even if you got the vaccine, you still have to wear a mask, even under your fursuit. You still can't be in theaters. They said 50%. You can't even go to raves and dances. You have to stay 6 feet apart from everyone and all that stupid crap. So, like, at that point, is it even
Yeah, that's-
fun or worth it to even go?
That's a little over excessive,
That's
right?
what they're saying. That's what they
Like-
want to do.
Well,
Like- I think you take it two ways, right? Like, you can either say, like, we're going to follow CDC guidelines. You don't have to show us that you're vaccinated. Just do this. Or if you're going to force people to be vaccinated, say, all right, you're all vaccinated. There are some restrictions you have to abide by, but not completely all of them.
Or
Vera,
what if
the way I
what if
see
you're
it-
just young and you're not sick and you just want to go to a con and have fun? You know, like we used to do last year.
Vera-
Like, remember those days?
Vera,
Who
Yes.
has fun anymore?
the problem is that even if you don't think you are sick, you could still have it. That's
Yeah.
the issue.
Not
The
everyone
way
has
I see
symptoms.
this is it's the same as a shop having the rules as if you don't have any shoes, you can't enter. At this point in time.
I don't think it's
And
the same
something
way.
I'm going to bring up from the past, which is something different. Australia has always had bushfire problems. I know America has it too. But at one point, a group of people turned around and forbid people from landowners from clearing out vegetation and brush from around the house. Save the rainforest bullshit.
Mhm.
One person in a town followed the instructions of the firefighters to remove the trees from around his house. A bushfire swept through the town, wiped out pretty much every building except his house. And the reason why everyone else's house burnt down is because no one cut the trees down or removed the brushes or removed any of the fuel.
Okay, but here's the thing, right?
And-
California has that legislation, and literally, they just had the biggest wildfires historically last year because of that regulation.
Yeah, because poor forest management.
Yeah.
Right, look, currently the virus is still a threat. And that's how you need to see it.
Yeah, I know.
Until it completely goes away.
if it is right now, then I don't think we should even be having conventions then. Or
Well-
if we do have cons, then they shouldn't be as bureaucratic and restrictive as they are, because no one's going to go. It's not going to be profitable.
Are other places still with these restrictions? Yes or no?
Other places, in what regards? Like where?
Other events that are being hosted.
Well, so I know cruises, the ones that are allowed, do require you to have vaccines, but that more or less makes sense because you're on a ship with other people, and it's not like you have much wiggle room on a ship, even if it's a big ship.
The other major issue with FurCons is that there's a lot of contact between people. So, for instance, as you said before, Avira, how a lot of furries will want to cuddle. A lot of people will want to cuddle people in fursuits, or a lot of people
or-
go hang out.
Or just hug. Hi, dude, I haven't seen you in a while. Give you a hug and whatnot.
And then
is
you
that
get the other
gonna-
problem with the AIDS outbreaks that usually occur in FurCons.
Oh yeah, but that's been going on since like the 80s. Thing is, I'm talking about right now, like how people, as you know, a lot of people in this fandom do have anxiety problems. Part of the reason why they're a furry, but that's a whole different story. Thing is, do you think like just the basic furry hug and just hanging out with people is going to be like a normal thing again, or are people still going to be all anxious and afraid and like not even want to engage and not even socialize? Because I think that's where it's going, especially
No
with
one
these
really-
regulations. It just
Avira,
fuels the fire.
no one really remembers the last actual outbreak we had, which was, geez, what was that one called? The flu virus?
Spanish flu, early 1900s.
Yeah, that one. I sat down and listened to a bunch of recordings from people who lived through that, and you had families coughing up blood and mucus constantly because they were so sick, and people they don't remember that
Right.
because it's past a generation now. It'll be the same with this virus. As soon as once things calm down and the outbreaks don't sort of kick up anymore, eventually it's going to all go back to normal. I mean, the worst possible thing could be we turn into Japan where everyone's wearing masks anyway when they're feeling a bit iffy.
Yeah, no, but that's silly. That's a very silly thing to do. Have to wear a mask everywhere. Come on. I
Well,
thought
no,
they
I
did
mean-
that
You
because
don't
of
wear a mask
pollution.
everywhere. As I understand, in Japan, if someone thinks that they've got a cold or they've got the flu and they have to go out, they will wear a mask themselves. Not everyone else, but just them, out of courtesy and respect for other people.
Okay,
So, and
and
I think that's a
I
better
get
idea.
that. Yeah, I
You know,
get that. Like,
that's-
if you're sick,
That's
okay.
cool, though. I mean, that's cool, like courtesy and respect. The
Yes.
problem is that, you know, for everyone else, like 95% of people who are not sick, the mask is something that kind of works, but not entirely, right? You can still get sick, even having a mask, if you
Because
go
the
within 6 feet.
The mask is only useful if you're infected, or if
Yeah.
you've got not
well,
the other way.
the
Besides,
problem is people right now are so afraid that they think if someone around them is not wearing a mask, then they will get sick, even if they are wearing one. So
For the last-
that's where it is.
for the last like 20, 30 years, if you go on an airplane, if you go on an airplane, one of those like you travel internationally or within your own country. I've heard of people who come off that they get like a bug for a couple of days, or they puke up their guts because they caught a bug while on the plane. I mean, you sneeze on a plane and you basically can infect like half the crew.
I mean,
And-
dude.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I mean, I
how it
totally
is
got
with
sick on a
conventions.
plane too.
Yeah, right. Well, obviously, y'all heard of con crud. Everyone knows that. Like when you go to a convention, sometimes there's a bug spread around. 30% of people get sick from it. It's like, oh shit, I got the con crud again. That's just a part of it. Typically, it's just a cold or something that lasts a couple of days.
But yeah, it's because a lot of germs being passed around, and not everyone will be cleaning themselves properly.
Well, no, of course, but like that's just the
what
nature
causes
of
it.
conventions.
But
Yeah, of course.
That's the nature of people.
But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good
Although
point.
I have heard there is a way to avoid it, not fully 100%, but best chances to avoid it on a plane is if you've got the above aircon on, don't have it blowing at you, have it blowing just in front of your mouth, and it blows all the germs and stuff straight down, so you have less
I
chance of
wouldn't.
getting infected.
I mean,
wouldn't-
man, I don't know.
Or
If
how
you're on a
stupid
plane,
does that sound?
If I wanted
does
to
sound
board an
stupid.
aircraft, look, if I wanted to board an aircraft, I want to go in a full decontamination suit.
Yeah, right. Whole hazmat with a gas mask and all
I'm
that
just going to
shit.
bring the plague doctor mask with me.
Yeah, burn
Uh,
that incense to kill the miasma.
A full decontamination suit would give you the protection because, one, people can see your entire face, so it's not concealed, but you've got like this giant plastic shield. And two, all the air coming in and going out of your body's filtered, so, you're good. At least N91 standard. Okay. Should we move on to the next subject?
Yeah, I think
yeah.
we beat this one well
Yeah,
past
but-
its death.
Yep. Kicked that dead horse a bit too much there.
Yeah.
Let's
That
move on
poor
from that.
horse. That poor horse died of
We'll
COVID.
just blame the favour.
God bless.
Sonic movie set photos showing Knuckles' design for the first time. Woo, Knuckles! I love Knuckles.
All right,
no.
guys. So you remember last year when we had the Sonic movie? Now they got
Who
Sonic
knew that
2.
was going to be the last movie most of us saw in theaters?
It's the first movie I saw in theaters for over a decade.
Man, the
Mine
last
was Venom.
movie I saw in theaters was 1917. It was back in early February.
Oh, mine was Sonic the Hedgehog. I literally watched Sonic the Hedgehog, and then they're like, okay, theaters are closing down. And I'm like, oh,
Pretty sure
Man,
mine
you're
was
so lucky. Okay, I was going to watch Sonic, but I went with my dad, and he's, into like history and stuff, as am I. So he's like, hey, you want to see 1917? And I'm like, okay. I wanted to see Sonic, but I'm here with you, Dad, so let's go watch that instead. It was all right.
Yeah, Sonic's the only movie, at least this Sonic movie, has been the only movie where the angry internet mob actually did something good for a change.
Well, exactly,
Yes,
yeah.
with the design,
Finally,
for sure.
the people actually listened and changed the design and
But the
made the movie perfectly fine.
But the people who brought it up, the people who you raised their voice, they weren't talking about diversity or bullshit. They were saying, that's not fucking Sonic!
Exactly, yeah. It wasn't anything about, SJW this, politics this. No, it was, give us back what it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and then we'll leave you alone. Just give us what it's supposed to be. Don't go above and beyond like this. Just change the design, please.
I honestly wish that they'd done Sonic right the first time. That way they could have melded his model better into the actual scene where he just looked out of place.
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
about that because when they first had his design, it looked like human legs on a Sonic with really creepy eyes, super uncanny. And then all the backlash they got from that trailer,
Especially the mouth.
they redesigned it to look like the original character from the games, which was actually, I think, a very good decision, especially like marketing wise.
Yeah.
But
I mean, how many people are going to be outraged at, oh, Knuckles doesn't have that white thing around his neck, man.
oh my goodness,
Doesn't have his
guys,
white marking.
Okay,
So,
so I
this
I
is
have a
Sonic
question,
2.
right?
Yeah.
Why couldn't the internet be invented when the Mario Brothers movie came out?
Oh, Jesus.
It was around then. Oh man, that was a bad movie.
Yeah.
So guys, this is new photos taken on the set for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The movie shows Knuckles for the first time. So I have a question for you guys. Do you think
Seriously,
that
just pronounce it
they're
okay.
going to slip in a line where Knuckles says, "I know the way"?
Oh,
Let's go.
God.
What do you
I
think?
doubt it.
Should they do it though? 'Cause,
Vera,
like, dude,
I have
if I
knives
was a
and I'm
writer,
coming for you for that.
if I was a writer for that movie, I totally would be like, "All right, guys, let's go. Bad guys down that way. I know the way."
I
like,
think I would have
just
to
for the
turn the bloody
memes.
movie off. Just stop
No,
watching
are
it.
you kidding me?
It was never funny. It was such
Yeah,
an
it was.
awful, terrible meme.
I know,
Not as bad
but
as the
like,
dab, but it was still awful.
yeah,
Okay,
but
but here-
like, if
so-
you heard it though, it'd be kind of fucking funny though, wouldn't it?
I
So
mean,
here's the
not
here's the
funny,
thing,
but it's
Avera.
nice to have things referenced.
This is Knuckles' first time showing up, so if they're gonna make it with the video games, that means Knuckles has to be like an antagonist that becomes protagonist.
Oh, brother. Okay, brother.
All right, so at this point, I have to say something about the actual photo
Good for you,
when we
Vera.
zoom out. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a sexual harassment case brought forward by Sonic to the actual crew members of the movie. Sorry.
Sorry, what? Oh, Jesus
Literally
Christ.
grabbing
I mean, these are legit, like, life-sized
Oh,
sculptures.
I didn't know if Vera
I'm
worked
not
on
sure how they're going to do this. It says the height of the CGI characters that they're going to interact with. Yeah, okay. I get that.
I mean, if you're having life-size figures there, it's better to just have someone in a mocap suit, because then at least the actors can look at it and just visualize, oh, well, this isn't going to be the person I'm seeing in the film itself, but at least I can see something moving about. No, instead, they're just going to have to go to a whole new level of imagination and just stare at figures like that, coldly staring back into their soul.
From what I'm
Yeah,
reading,
but building these characters is a good reference for the actors that actually do have to play these parts and kind of just have a sense of like who they're interacting with. Like, okay, so Knuckles, you're a little bit taller than Sonic, and Sonic is a little bit taller than you, Tails. So we get that.
from what I understand in regards to how movies are made, these aren't going to be used in actual filming.
No,
They'd be
they're not.
for a reference shot. And then when it comes to actually an actor interacting with a CGI character, they'd use like a tennis ball on a stick or something
Yeah.
in order for the actor to actually look at. That way, they can then stitch it in, because if they have to CGI over that, well, what's going to happen if Knuckles' limbs move around a little bit? Then they're going to have to, do a correction for what's missing in the scene. Whereas if they set the scene up, get the cameras in place, take a quick shot of where Knuckles is supposed to be, remove him, put in a tennis ball where the eyes are supposed to be, and then just have that trace around, and the actor can focus on that. It is so much easier to work with.
Yeah.
But still, that's not how you handle a Sonic a Sonic doll. Sorry.
Well, I mean, Knuckles is just looking away angrily. Sonic is there like, what the fuck's going on? And Tails just like, I've seen things.
Yeah, right? He's seen some shit for sure.
He
But,
turned his head,
At least
saw what's
they
happening with
have
Sonic, and he was
their
like, oh.
size. At least they have like their size references all well
Yeah.
and good. Like, that's okay.
The only thing that I'm dreading is they're making another Sonic movie, so you know exactly what's going to happen with furries online. More
Oh, yep,
At
yep,
least this
yep.
time, people shouldn't lose their shit because Sonic looks like a drowned rat.
Well, yeah. It's just with walking dentures. But what-
That first look was so bad.
So
Oh,
so
I can't
can I
do-
call can I call
Well, guys,
can I call the spoiler?
oh yeah.
Can I call a spoiler that'll probably happen?
Oh, what do you
It'll-
think?
Correct.
It'll be Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles for the entirety of the movie, and just like last movie, they'll introduce a different Sonic character at the end, so that they can just keep this going.
Oh
And I
no.
bet you it's gonna be Amy.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, not Amy.
Oh god,
Yeah,
no!
bring
If
her out,
anything, I'd
but-
rather an
oh,
end
my.
credit scene to allude to Shadow. If anything, not Amy. Anything but Amy.
Oh no, Amy and Shadow.
No, just kill Amy off. Let her die.
What's wrong with Amy?
I just don't like her. Never have.
Okay, well,
Oh.
what about Cream and Cheese? What about them? Oh wait, people don't remember that they exist
Oh,
as
yeah.
in the Sonic universe.
It's because it
There
was
are
mostly
so
just
many
random Sonic
characters.
X and stuff. But yeah. Well, I mean, that's
What
the thing,
about Big the
people-
Cat? Oh wait, people forget that he
Oh,
exists
God.
in the Sonic universe as well.
I mean, he was a bit of a crap one anyway, so it's not much of a loss there. Well,
All right.
All right, so how many
in
movies
the
do
end
you
of
think
Venom,
they should make?
how
of
that
the
alluded to Carnage, it would be amazing.
I mean,
if it
they're
alluded to
they.
Shadow.
So I think they need to make as many movies up till Sonic 06 and then make that the worst Sonic movie that's ever existed just to be consistent.
Okay,
So that's going to be the third one then, because usually the third one's the worst.
we should move on to the last subject
Indeed, we
today.
shall.
because this is going to be
So what's this?
teacher forced to refer to student by persona name.
You are kidding me.
So
Right.
this is very interesting. I'm not sure how many of you guys know who Tim Pool is. He talks about a lot of news. He's kind of like a center-left vanilla type of dude, but he at least reports the news, in my opinion, in an okay manner. I'm not his biggest fan, but whatever. Anyways, we came across a story where it says a teacher was forced to refer to their student by their fursona name, and that the school defends the student's rights to be called their fursona name.
That
Could
is
you imagine?
ridiculous.
You're like in, I don't know, 7th grade or something. You're like 12 years old, 13. And you're like, excuse me, Mrs. Smith? My name is not, Robert Johnson. It's actually Dark Wolf. So please call me Dark Wolf. Dark Wolf
My name's actually
227.
Fluffles McFluffington.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fluffwilk McFluffington. Yeah, sure. Please call me that in class, and that's how I'm going to write my name on my tests and my exams.
my
So,
God.
and if you don't agree with me, then you're a bigot and you hate furry.
All right. So for me, when I sit down and look at this, I have to question what name was being requested to be used.
Oh yeah.
Oh
God,
So-
what was the name? Oh, please tell me it wasn't something.
We don't have the
Hot
actual name
69.
itself.
Or
Yeah,
something
we
like
don't-
that.
We don't know what the name was. I watched the Tim Pool's video all the way, well, at least the free segment they had. No one said what the name was. So it's really difficult to say. Now, growing up, when I was in school, some people had a nickname.
Yeah.
Individual who had the nickname, they weren't aggressive, they didn't complain, they didn't threaten, they didn't do any of the sort of shit that you see nowadays where people lose their total shit over the fact that you call someone by their birth name or the name.
Or their
It-
pronouns.
You shouldn't be forcing getting this upset. If just refer to it as a nickname and that's how you like to be called. and
Yeah,
understand that people are going to screw that up.
I wonder why the school defended the student's rights, though. Like, regardless of what his furry name was, the fact that the teacher, the employee that works at this school as a public servant, because in America or probably everywhere else, teachers are government employees. They have to adhere to what the student wants to be called, even if it's not their legal name. That's interesting.
I mean, I just think it's ridiculous. It's like, unless that kid changes their name legally, then they should be referred to as their legal name, especially in school, because that's going to go on all of their education stuff. Imagine that on a CV. Someone's looking through a professional place where they're looking to go to work, and at the top of the thing it says, "Oh, my name's Sparkle R. Spankmington," or something.
That's a very good point. That's a extremely good point, dude.
What
And
exactly?
that's
What
exactly
employer is going to look at a name like that and think,
well. The thing is,
"I'm going to read
this
through the
is
rest of this CV"?
right because like this is public education, right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
funded by the government. This is on your permanent record. Oh, I went to school such and such, and I did that and this. People put that on their resumes or just whatever. And if you're not legally changing your name, and you want to call yourself, Star Fox 752, and like that's not a legal name.
The
It
only
doesn't
thing
make
that
sense.
I can also
So-
And
is
I wonder if like this teacher was like more conservative or liberal. I don't want to like get politics involved, but I'm just curious, like, well, what they actually thought about this. Or they're like, oh, should I just abide by what my employers are telling me to do, or should I just call you by your real name, which I should as a teacher because we have to take standardized state tests. So you can't be putting furry names on your state tests, okay? You
So
can't do that.
Vera,
here's the thing. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say here's the thing I think, right? Is that I thought personas were to get away or like role play or get away from the real world for a little bit and
Well,
not
exactly.
necessarily like, oh, this is who I am forever, right?
Oh my goodness, no dragons. That is the best point ever. You're completely right.
Okay.
I remember when I was back in school, I wouldn't write on my test exams a Vera Nova. I'd be like, no, like I'm using my legal name because furry fandom is different than real life. It's an escape, of course. It's just like a different thing that I'm into, but I'm not going to try to implement that in real life. I mean, that's just crazy, right?
Right. It's not like I use my screen name in like real. Well, okay, I have done it before in Starbucks, but that's also when there was like 50 people with my real name, and I'm just like, I don't want to get the wrong order, so I'm just gonna put my screen name, and no one's gonna be able to tell that that's theirs because it's clearly mine.
Yeah,
But that's a different scenario.
No, dude, that makes total sense. That's exactly what I would do as well.
Yeah,
I'd
plus that's only a one-time thing. It's not like a binding legal stuff that you haven't to.
Yeah, like,
Right, exactly.
My own.
I would like to
teacher is
backstep
going
on this a
call
little
me,
bit.
Like a Vera. I mean, come on now. I don't think so.
So to backstep on this a little bit, I can understand people wanting to use a nickname for things like roll call, and general interactions.
I do.
But when
too,
it
yes.
comes to filling out forms or doing tests, then students, teachers, and all that should have to use their real name.
Mm-hmm.
However, it also has to be acknowledged that you can't turn around and use names that could be controversial or upsetting. So, say, for instance, using the term yif, sex, genitalia, that sort of stuff. If you want to be known as Crystal instead, that's a perfectly good term. But if you want to be called yif, blah, 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 beep, 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 and keep it simple, for crying out loud. There's no need to make a statement every time that your name is out.
The fact of that is, couldn't everyone just like, oh well, my first name used to be that, it's now this, and just keep constantly bouncing between names because well, someone said this about my name, I don't like it now, so I'm going to suddenly.
The other
change it.
thing is changing it constantly. That's when you need to stick with your birth name. If you can't make a decision on a persona name or a nickname or something, just don't use it then.
Well, and
I've
let's
my current teacher, um, because I'm in a trade school and trying to upskill, we had a student who every couple of days would say, "Oh, my name's now instead blah this or blah that," and I'm sitting there thinking, "What the hell are you doing?" Because my teacher would freak out over that, and I'm thinking, "What the hell is wrong with you, asshole? Pick a name and stick with it."
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, how are you going to make a formal connection if you don't know who, like, what to call them, right? Like, that's crazy.
Well, and here's a sidebar as well, right? Let's face it, kids are mean. Like
That's
adults are
exactly
mean,
what I was thinking.
but
Yeah.
kids are really mean.
Mhm.
Like they don't have a filter. At least as an adult, you sometimes have a filter, but kids will just be like, you know, "Oh, Yif Master 29," and like,
69.
"Oh yeah, Yif Master 69."
Oh God. Ugh. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
When it comes to the whole furry thing, as No Dragons and Avera pointed out, I see it more as an after-hours thing.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
If, and I mean if, you are drawing either a small or most of your income from the furry community, by all means, go around and use your persona name. But just, sorry, that's the only reason I can see wanting to really promote yourself in everyday life is if you are, drawing an actual income from the furry community. Otherwise, it's just
It's just an OC or just an alternate
Yeah.
character. That's just what it is. Some persona.
it
Plus,
loses its effectiveness if it's
Yeah.
everyday life, where versus only when you go at home or only when you go to certain events or certain places where it's furry.
Exactly.
Well, exactly,
So
'cause on top of that,
I'm
say
not
if,
sure.
we all know what kids are like in schools. This
Oh,
kid
yeah.
trying to get by with their persona name, you know for a fact he's going to end up getting bullied to hell and back for that, for being a furry. Then where's his escape? He can then be a furry at school and go home and escape in the fandom to feel better because it's the fandom he just got bullied over. Then he's got no escape left.
He's going to be beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know about that, but hopefully not.
Trust me, kids are mean.
I know, and that's why I don't use. Well, back in the day when I was in school, I didn't use my name Avera. I just used my regular name because I was a regular person when I was in school. In other circumstances, at different events, cons and meets and stuff, yeah, I use my furry name, obviously, because that's what we do.
Well, yeah, but it makes sense at cons. It doesn't make sense in like government or business settings.
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't make sense at school. Like, hey, Mrs. Smith, please do call me by my furry name. Like, what? Bro.
Imagine trying to get a bank loan for a business. Hi, my name's Yiffy Fox 69. I would like to loan this much money.
Yeah, right? They would be like, nope. No way. Get out of here, you wacko.
Mhm.
I mean, the real alpha move would be to go to school in your fursuit and then just use your regular name. That'd be the alpha move right there.
Okay, I have heard of cases and have read cases where people have gone to work in their fursuit. However, this has usually only been during like the day where they're going to have a party. They don't rock up with it. They wait until the party starts. They go get changed and then they come out. That's, to me, is perfectly acceptable. If you want to be comfortable doing that, but if one of your co-workers comes over and gives you a cuddle and you turn around and scream, "Ah, you're sexually harassing me," then
Noble.
Noble.
Are you talking about me? Because I totally went to my previous job in fursuit because of a party.
You are one reason, to be honest. I've heard of others and seen photos of others, especially on, well,
Oh
I hate
yeah,
to say, but today as well, where
back when
people
I
have
used
been at
to.
their party, Christmas party or something, and they've got
No,
their
no, no.
fursuit on, the co-workers are
This
around
was
them.
back when I used to work at a grocery store. We have like this weird robot type of thing that would walk around the store and scan things and find messes or whatever. So it was they called this robot Marty. It was like his first birthday. So on my day off, I dressed up in my fursuit. I went to my job, and they had like a whole table next to this robot. They were giving out cake and cookies and all kinds of stuff, and I was just there to like take pictures and promote the store. So that was the only time I ever did anything like that, but it was for a specific reason, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Another thing is, like, if you're going to turn up to your job in a fursuit, at least ask permission first.
Oh yeah, well
Just,
they
like,
already knew.
especially,
Yeah, like I said, this is
yeah.
for a promotional event. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's why I did that.
Promotional stuff, fair enough. But like, if it's just a random day and you thought, oh, why not just go with my fursuit? No, ask permission, make sure it's okay, and make sure it's the proper job for it. Don't just turn up.
Yeah,
to a
exactly.
job that would
And
not be
even
appropriate with the
even if you're
fursuit.
dude, exactly. And even if you're not in fursuit, don't ask your teacher or a college professor to refer to you by your persona name. I mean, like that's.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. Like,
okay,
No.
guys, I've got a good idea, bad idea segment.
okay, let's
So,
go.
good idea. Rocking up with your fursuit with a skull dog on Halloween. Bad idea. Rocking up with your fursuit skull dog on Valentine's Day.
I think that still sounds like a good idea.
It does sound like a good. Honestly,
the
I
whole
thought the
sort of
first.
white
I thought you were gonna say the
skull,
first one was a good
creepy
idea.
red eyes, blood stains, and like looking like a just zombie showing up on Valentine's Day.
Excuse. Oh, so I'm not allowed to go out Valentine's Day, am I not? Because I'm a zombie. Is that what you're trying to say here, Noble?
It's more using a reference of
Yeah.
think about the situation. So you wouldn't rock up as a well, let's just say
Covered in blood for Christmas.
yeah to a public event.
No, no.
Which unfortunately someone has done and shown the level of cringe that brought out.
Oh goodness.
Understand that when you go outside in a fursuit, you gotta think about whether or not this might be stressful or upsetting to other people.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, unpopular opinion: kids in school should not be worrying about being massively furry. Worry about getting your education and then getting old enough to be that involved in the furry fandom to where you have the option to be known as your persona. Because yeah, people always say, "Oh, all this like NSFW stuff isn't much to do with the fandom." It's still a massive part. So kids running around in schools now trying to implement it is just going to make it even worse.
No, I know, and I don't think schools should be implementing it. Like, I'm not sure if like that's what you mean.
Oh no,
But,
not the schools themselves, but the kids who are taking the fandom then trying to push it onto the schools and even more into main areas where it should not be, because like, yeah, I know the fandom isn't all about NSFW stuff, but it's still a massive part. You can't hide from it. It's everywhere.
Right,
And then
but
kids trying to go all about
not
it.
like
It's-
what I would be advocating for, like when it comes to kids or younger people just wanting to be in the fandom. Because back in the day, like I just started out drawing and painting animals because I was really good at that, and I just liked doing it. And that was back when I was in middle school. I didn't join the fandom until I was 19.
I've been in the fandom since I was fairly young. But
let's put it this way, right? Kids should be focused on getting through school and getting out of school.
Yeah,
and not
that's
worried about what they're being called.
Get through the school first, and then you can worry about stuff like that.
So there's another thing I'm going to try to put but under all seriousness, there's a time and place for everything, okay? It's called college.
Yeah.
You know,
All
wait
right.
till you're a bloody adult. Anyway, we should
All right,
end this, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, before we do we have any live comments? Anyone have any questions, concerns? Anything going on?
Nothing for the last 15 or so minutes. No, sorry, 20 minutes now.
All right, well, I think we're just about good.
Yep.
You want to close this one off, Avera?
Sure thing, buddy. Well, thank you for listening to tonight's show. This was fantastic. Well, I'm going to have my closing statements later, but for now, let's just go with closing statements from Noble.
Just so everyone's aware, I'm an Australian, so if I'm going to beat a dead horse, it's going to be with a cricket bat, not a baseball bat. Thank you very much.
All right, Stife, what's up?
Well, I mean, as usual, it has been a fun time and some really weird topics every time I'm on.
Oh, you're darn right.
All the
We
time,
didn't
and it
have-
was very nice to get the notification about like 10, 20 minutes before the podcast that I'm on tonight.
Aw, Stipe, you're freaking awesome, buddy. And
Of
last
course
we
I
have no dragons, please.
Just for those people in Hollywood, make sure you learn how to handle a Sonic statue. I don't want internet pictures of that anymore, please.
All right. And Noble, why don't you tell everyone where people can find us?
Where is it this time? Sorry, I wasn't prepared.
It's all good, buddy.
So, our current episodes are on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and BitChute, and whatever it does to rear its ugly head out of the sewers, we should try to get ourselves on that one.
All right. Well, this is us signing off. Farewell, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Laters.